Hey, welcome to the Driveway Marketing Podcast. This is another episode with your host. I'm Bryan Durkin. And today we are going to talk about a framework that I use that helps me, helps me think about business differently, think about projects differently, thinking about opportunities differently. And I probably stole it from someone else and I reframed it to my own. We call that swipe and deploy or inspiration. But I want you to think about, all the things that you're doing that maybe you shouldn't. Drum roll, please. Anyway, so that is my process, right? So in my world, I am known as, hey, you got a guy. So I do got a guy. That's part of the rest of the business, and we'll learn about that later on. But the process of understanding, where are the roadblocks, where are the blind spots, where are the needs that are getting in your way. So I'll share with you some fun notes. So this podcast launching in early 2024. 2023 was a banner year for us. We have 3 lines of business that all generated positive cash flow. We hit a milestone that we didn't think we were going to hit. And so for the last 6 weeks of 2023, we had a new set of challenges. And so there were some things that were on my plate that I had to get off, and this will make sense in a second. Just bear with me. That I had to get off to other people to handle. And I really didn't want to, quite honestly. I like you, I struggle with, I can't be the only one doing it. Yet every time I want to let go, I've got to dive back in. As entrepreneurs, my friend Gene Kelly talks about being the arsonist and the firefighter at the same time. Other people talk about entrepreneurs are addicted to chaos. The further you want to grow your business, the less addiction to chaos, excuse me, you have to be willing to accept. So back to year-end stuff. So we had a host of challenges we had to have. We had to do some cash management. We had to do some forecasting, some planning, some other stuff where we had just been rolling, and we learned a whole new thing. So we added a regular finance discussion into the weekly, not monthly things, and then on a monthly basis we go off site and talk about kind of goals and strategies. So it's a fun way to do it, but you can't get there if you're stuck in the weeds. So in the show notes, I have a link for you to download. It's a concept I called game planning. And if you want more in-depth resources to this, I do have a masterclass on this. I'm not sure if I'm going to charge you for it or not, but you'll see me doing it. But what we, in essence, find out is, as we talk to people, in previous consulting world, everyone has a million things to get going. And even early on in my career, I learned from a very high level executive at Merck & Company who said basically a couple things. One, every executive has 5 to 7 projects on their plate. So that doesn't, remember we talked about in the early episode that most home service businesses are dealing with, 4 to 7 or 6 to 8 projects at any given time frame. Now, granted, if you're a service tech and you're you're installing water heaters, it might be 6 in 2 days. If you are an interior designer, it might be 6 in 6 months. If you are a remodeling contractor, you might be working on 6 projects in a year. If you're a building contractor, it might be 6 projects in 2 years, right? I don't know the framework, but so kind of that organizational unit that humans are wired to seems to be the 6-8, because after that, you have to have infrastructure, you have to have people, and that gets more complicated. So I use this concept called game planning. So again, if you're in the show notes, and you don't have to download them now, but you can go back and download them. Simply put, game planning is organizing the tasks you do for a period of time and understanding the value. So in game planning, I talk about baseball, right? My book is called Stuck on First. So we talk about tasks that are singles, doubles, triples, and home runs. And what are some examples of that, and why does it matter? So some people use this as singles might be a $10 item, doubles might be a $100 item, triples might be a $1,000 item, and home runs might be a $10,000 item. So whatever value you attribute it to, they're relevant, but you get the concept. So what ends up happening is that owners, entrepreneurs, even salespeople and resources, they do the things they're comfortable at, but not necessarily the things that need to get done, right? So in the E-Myth, which at this point was a couple episodes ago, if you haven't gotten it on Kindle or downloaded the ebook, you should. The E-Myth is all about building systems right? Systems and frameworks, or in my company, we call it intellectual property. Whatever it is you're creating to help other people's do it, you have to decide what's first and how you're going to get it done. So a concept of, let's talk about singles, right? Singles might be, a single might be post social media every day. A single might be send a thank you card after every meeting. A single might be make one phone call a day to a past prospect. Another single might be call once a week your networking group members, two of your networking group members, right? So those are simple single items, relatively low value, um, and that needs to get done. A double might be something that's more valuable, that could be more impactful for your business. And it could be, hey, implement two things from the Driveway Marketing Podcast. Maybe that's a double. Maybe it's read a book called The E-Myth in the next 30 days, right? Only pretty much, doubles are stuff that you mostly should be doing. So again, higher value items. And in the masterclass, which I'll just put a link to it, you guys can watch it. The masterclass gives you some ideas of what you could do and how you could implement it. A triple would be $1,000 item. So example might be, I'm going to start my own podcast. I'm going to create a year-long campaign to get 100 of the best real estate agents in my market to know who I am and give me the opportunity to earn business. We call that a Dream 100. I will do an episode on the Dream 100. That's a really cool concept. It's a lot of fun. And then $1,000 item, or a home run, or a $10,000 item might be, hey, you're going to write a book. So if you are I'll use the shed guy, because I know Dan Kennedy talks about the shed guys. If you are the shed guy in your market, those are not sheds anymore. They're he sheds, or man caves and she sheds. They're not $1,500. They're $15,000. They have air conditioning. They've got insulation. They've got awesome windows and lighting, right? So those are not, show up and buy purchases. They're giving away the build your man cave dream shed guides or DVDs, right? So if you remember Disney, they don't sell you timeshares. They ask you to get your dream vacation planning guide. And while that sounds for a lot of people listening that's a crazy goal to get to, I will share with you that if it's something simple and something palatable, your competitors aren't doing it. So if your $10,000 item is putting together a workbook that is the 10 things to share the 10 things to do when you're building your dream bathroom, and you give them a workbook that you designed that has, here's your selection process. Here's the tile selection. Here's the lighting selection. Here's the flooring selection. Here's the accessory selection. And then just somewhere for them to write notes as they see stuff, whether it's electronic or in print. Maybe that's an amazing thing that you could do to differentiate yourself for your market. Why is that important? Because your competitors aren't doing it, right? So this framework I build, this game planning process, is an idea board, right? And so what ends up happening is that when you read the masterclass, you're going to find out that there's a lot of singles that you're doing that you shouldn't be doing. Some examples from clients I deal with is CEO of a $5 million company. He's the guy responsible for making sure the domains are up to date, right? That's crazy. Or he's responsible for getting the sales reports out to the sales staff, right? Instead of training an administrative assistant to do that work, and then he can check it and send it out, he's actually doing it because, I can just get it done faster. So that idea that you have to do everything, if it wasn't obvious in the E-Myth and the E-Myth Revisited, it's clearly obvious now. So also, when you download the PDF, what's interesting is you can fold it up. There's little dotted lines along it. Fold it up along the lines. It comes in a shape. It's pretty square. It's not perfect. And stick it in your pocket, put it in your purse, put it in your car. And then every time you're doing something, try to assign the value to it. I imagine if you do it for 2 weeks, you'll see this giant cliff that goes from singles to home runs. So there's going to be a ton of single items that you're doing that you probably shouldn't be doing. And there's very few home runs that you're doing you shouldn't be doing. So when you watch the masterclass, you'll see that's exactly the case. You just need to think about, how can I do that differently? So again, I hope this was helpful. That really is really one of the frameworks that I share with people that is completely different. Why does that matter for marketing? Well, it matters for marketing because you have to decide what you can't do and someone else can do, so you can have time to think about the important stuff. So if you're going to create your Dream 100, and we'll talk about that probably in a few episodes, the Dream 100 is a concept where if you could get your best referral sources referring to you on a consistent basis to build the business you want, how would you do it? And by the way, it's hard. It takes time. Our Dream 100 in our business probably took 3 years to build. And once you build it, it's fantastic, right? So obviously you have to live until you get there, but it is a fantastic resource. So anyway, framework, download game planning, start paying attention to what you're doing, assign the value to it. And I challenge yourself, be honest. I bet you there's more $10 items or more singles you're hitting that you know you're doing. And let's think about getting that to somebody else. So hope this was helpful. We'll see you on the next episode of Driveway Marketing. And I'm Bryan. I'm your host. Have a great day.